This play was good enough for us, Harry. It was Romeo and Juliet. I must admit that I was rather annoyed at the idea of seeing Shakespeare done in such a wretched hole of a place. Still, I felt interested in a sort of way. At any rate, I determined to wait for the first act. There was a dreadful orchestra, presided over by a young Hebrew who sat at a cracked piano. That nearly drove me away, but at last the drop scene was drawn up, and the play began. Romeo was a stout, elderly gentleman, with corked eyebrows, a husky tragedy voice, and a figure like a beer barrel. Mercutio was almost as bad. He was played by the low comedian, who had introduced gags of his own and was on most friendly terms with the pit. They were both as grotesque as the scenery, and that looked as if it had come out of a country booth. But Juliet... Harry, imagine a girl, hardly 17 years of age, with a little flower-like face, a small Greek head with plaited coils of dark brown hair, eyes that were violet wells of passion, lips that were like the petals of a rose. She was the loveliest thing I had ever seen in my life. You said to me once that pathos left you unmoved, but that beauty, mere beauty, could fill your eyes with tears. I tell you, Harry, I could hardly see this girl for the mist of tears that came across me. And her voice... I never heard such a voice. It was very low at first, with deep, mellow notes that seemed to fall singly upon one's ear. And then it became a little louder, and sounded like a flute or a distant hautbois. In the garden scene, it had all the tremulous ecstasy that one hears in Just Before the Dawn when nightingales are singing. And there were moments later on when it had the wild passion of violets. You know how a voice can stir one. Your voice and the voice of Sybil Vane are two things that I shall never forget. When I close my eyes, I hear them, and each of them says something different. I don't know which to follow. Why should I not love her? Harry, I do love her. She's everything to me in life. Night after night I go see her play. One evening, she's Rosalind. And the next evening, she's Imogen. I've seen her die in the gloom of an Italian tomb, sucking the poison from her lover's lips. I've watched her wandering through the forest of Ardennes, disguised as a pretty boy in hose and doublet and dainty cap. She has been mad and come into the presence of a guilty king and given him rude ware and bitter herbs to taste of. She has been innocent, and the black hands of jealousy have crushed her reed-like throat. I've seen her in every age and in every costume. Ordinary women never appeal to one's imagination. They're limited to their century. No glamour ever transfigures them. One knows their mind as easily as one knows their bonnets. One can always find them. There's no mystery in them. They ride in the park in the morning and chatter at tea parties in the afternoon. They have their stereotyped smile and their fashionable manner. They are quite obvious. But an actress... How different an actress is, Harry! Why didn't you tell me that the only thing worth loving is an actress?